What if everything you've been told about the Iraqi dinar is a carefully constructed illusion, designed to keep the average investor in the dark while the global elite positions itself for the greatest wealth transfer of our generation? Let that terrifying question sink in for a moment, because the decisions you make in the coming days, based on the information I'm about to reveal, could either secure your family's financial future for a century or wipe out your life savings in a single, catastrophic blow. The year 2025 is not just another marker on the calendar. It has become the absolute crucible for the Iraqi dinar, a final, decisive period where every geopolitical move, every central bank announcement, and every fluctuation in the global oil market carries a weight previously unimaginable. We are witnessing a silent financial war being waged not with weapons, but with policy, international agreements, and economic pressure, and the outcome of this conflict will directly determine the value of the currency you hold in your hands right now. The official narrative, the one parroted by mainstream financial outlets, will tell you that the Iraqi dinar remains pegged at approximately 1,310 IQD to $1, a rate that has shown only microscopic, insignificant movements for years, creating an illusion of perpetual stagnation designed to lull the uninformed into a false sense of security or, worse, complete disinterest. But I am here to tell you that this surface-level calm is a mirage. A deliberate facade masking the titanic shifts occurring deep within the foundations of Iraq's economic infrastructure and its relationship with the global financial system. Behind the scenes, a perfect storm is brewing, a convergence of factors so powerful that it threatens to shatter this peg forever and unleash the true, intrinsic value of the dinar onto the world stage. The first and most critical catalyst is Iraq's aggressive and undeniable push towards financial transparency and global integration. Just recently, the Central Bank of Iraq successfully completed its monumental transition to the new global SWIFT MX standard, a system that utilizes blockchain-like ledger technology to track every single financial transaction with a level of security and transparency that was previously impossible. This isn't a minor technical upgrade. This is Iraq receiving its golden ticket into the elite club of internationally recognized and trusted currencies. By adopting the ISO 20022 standard, a non-negotiable prerequisite for any nation serious about participating in the future of digital finance, Iraq is sending an unambiguous signal to the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and every major financial institution on the planet that it is ready to play by the rules of the new economic world order. This move systematically dismantles the architecture of corruption and black market trading that has suppressed the dinar's value for decades, creating a clean, auditable financial pathway that is essential for building international investor confidence. Simultaneously, the Iraqi government, under Prime Minister Sudani, is executing a dual-pronged strategy focused on securing its revenue streams and asserting its economic sovereignty. The ongoing high-stakes negotiations with Turkey to permanently resolve the oil export pipeline issues from the Kurdistan region are not merely about regional politics. They are a direct assault on the volatility and uncertainty that have plagued Iraq's primary source of income. Securing a stable, predictable flow of oil revenue, which constitutes over 90% of the government's budget, is the absolute bedrock upon which a stronger currency must be built. Every barrel of oil that flows consistently through that pipeline adds another layer of fundamental support to the dinar's potential new value. Furthermore, the government's public declarations of moving towards a new currency mechanism are not empty political promises. They are the final stages of a multi-year plan to delete the zeros from the currency, a process that is intrinsically linked to a revaluation. This redenomination is not, as some mistakenly believe, just about creating new, lower denomination banknotes for convenience. It is a profound act of national economic reset, an opportunity to re-anchor the currency to a new, stronger baseline that reflects the nation's vast oil wealth and economic potential, rather than the legacy of conflict and sanctions. When you combine this with Iraq's increasing alignment with economic blocs like BRICS, which actively promotes de-dollarization, you begin to see a coherent, powerful strategy emerging from Baghdad, a strategy designed not just to revalue a currency, but to reclaim national economic destiny. The pieces are no longer just on the board, they are being moved into their final, decisive positions. So, if the groundwork is so undeniably laid and the path forward seems so clear, why hasn't the revaluation happened at this very second? Why does a chasm of uncertainty still separate the holders of this currency from the financial destiny they have been promised? To answer that, you must be willing to venture into the shadowy and often deliberately obscured battlefield where high finance collides with brutal geopolitics, a realm where the true obstacles to your wealth are not economic indicators, but the vested interests of global powers and the internal fractures within Iraq itself. The single greatest, most formidable wall standing between the current dinar exchange rate and its potential is the relentless, overwhelming pressure from the United States Federal Reserve and the Treasury Department. This is the elephant in the room that no mainstream analyst will ever dare to name with the force it deserves, but I will. The American financial apparatus has a vested, strategic interest in maintaining a global system dominated by the US dollar and a suddenly powerful, oil-backed Iraqi dinar, independent of dollar hegemony, represents a direct and unacceptable threat to that system. Think about it logically. Why would the architects of the petrodollar system, which has forced the entire world to use dollars for oil transactions for decades, willingly allow a nation sitting on one of the planet's largest oil reserves to launch a currency that could potentially break that chain? They wouldn't, and they aren't. The U.S. Treasury's oversight of Iraq's central bank transactions through its New York Fed account is not a benevolent act of guidance. It is a stranglehold, a veto power that can be, and has been, used to delay, scrutinize, and complicate any significant monetary move Iraq attempts to make. This external pressure is then magnified exponentially by the internal political chaos that has been expertly cultivated within Iraq's borders. The ongoing struggle to form a stable government is not an accident. It is a symptom of a nation being pulled in a dozen different directions by rival political factions, many of which are themselves proxies for larger regional powers like Iran, each with their own agenda for Iraq's future. A weak, divided government in Baghdad is far easier to manipulate and control from the outside than a strong, unified, and sovereign one. This internal discord directly sabotages the economic reforms demanded by the International Monetary Fund, reforms that are a non-negotiable key to unlocking the dinar's value. How can a government pass a unified national budget, let alone a historic new oil and gas law that fairly distributes revenue, when its very foundation is shaky? This political instability is the perfect excuse used by international bodies to justify continued oversight and delay, creating a vicious cycle where internal weakness invites external control, which in turn perpetuates the internal weakness. And let's be brutally honest about another open secret: the rampant corruption and the powerful black market currency auctions. Billions of dollars have been siphoned out of the country through fraudulent letters of credit and manipulated currency auctions, a scheme so vast it has directly drained the country's dollar reserves and undermined every legitimate effort to strengthen the currency. This isn't a minor leak, it is a hemorrhage, and it benefits a small, corrupt elite who have no interest in seeing a stable, strong dinar because their entire wealth extraction model depends on the chaos and the disparity between the official and black market rates. When the central bank attempts to tighten controls and enforce transparency, as it has been trying to do, it faces immense pushback from these entrenched interests who profit from the status quo. This is the real war for the dinar, a war fought on three fronts: against the external dollar hegemony of the United States, against the internal political fragmentation fueled by foreign proxies, and against the deep-seated corruption that bleeds the nation's wealth dry. Your investment is not just sitting in a vacuum waiting for an economic indicator to tick upward. It is a pawn in a high-stakes game of global power, and until one of these three fronts sees a decisive breakthrough, the immense potential of the dinar will remain locked away, a king trapped in a cage of someone else's design. Understanding this brutal reality is not a reason for despair, but a call to strategic awareness, because the moment any one of these walls shows a significant crack, that is the signal you must be ready for. Now, with the stark reality of these obstacles laid bare before you, the most critical question shifts from "what is happening" to "what must you do?" The final chapter of this story is not being written in Baghdad or Washington, it is being written by you, right now, in the decisions you make after this video ends. The path forward demands a radical shift from passive hope to active, disciplined strategy, because the window of opportunity is both real and perilously narrow. Your first and most non-negotiable rule must be this: treat your dinar investment not as a lottery ticket, but as a high-stakes strategic asset. This means that the money you have allocated to this venture must be capital you are psychologically and financially prepared to lose entirely. It should never, under any circumstances, be funds tied to your retirement security, your children's education, or your basic living expenses. The emotional weight of needing that money to survive will cloud your judgment, forcing you into panic-driven decisions, either selling at the first sign of a price spike out of fear it will disappear, or worse, holding on through a catastrophic collapse because you cannot afford to take the loss. You must divorce your hope from your financial survival. Secondly, you must become your own central intelligence agency. The days of blindly following a single guru, whether it's Mark Z, Frank 26, or any other voice, are over. The information landscape surrounding the dinar is a minefield of deliberate disinformation, well-intentioned hopium, and outright scams designed to prey on your desperation. Your new daily discipline is to triangulate every piece of information you receive. When you hear a rumor from a guru, you immediately cross-reference it with official statements from the Central Bank of Iraq, Reuters Financial Wire reports, and analysis from formal institutions. If the only place a groundbreaking story appears is on dinar-specific blogs and YouTube channels, you must treat it with extreme skepticism. Your most powerful tool is not hope, it is verification. Pay excruciating attention to official triggers, a signed and ratified federal oil and gas law, a public statement from the International Monetary Fund confirming the successful completion of a key reform milestone, or a confirmed, permanent agreement on the Kurdistan-Turkey oil pipeline. These are the tangible, real-world events that move markets, not cryptic messages about meetings with the bond folks or bank stories. Third, you must have a crystal-clear, written exit strategy long before any revaluation ever occurs. What is your target? Is it a specific exchange rate? Are you planning to cash out a percentage at certain milestones? You must decide this now, in a moment of calm rationality, not in the chaotic, emotional frenzy of a potential launch. The psychology of a rapidly moving market is brutal, greed will scream at you to hold on for just a little more, while fear will whisper that you should sell everything before it crashes. A pre-written plan is your anchor in that storm. It is the contract you make with your rational self that your emotional self cannot break. And finally, you must be physically and logistically prepared. Do you know the exact, verified process for exchanging your currency with your chosen broker or bank? Have you confirmed their policies and rates for exotic currency like the dinar? The time to make those phone calls and get those answers is today, not when the news breaks and phone lines are jammed for weeks. This is the ultimate divide between the successful investor and the crowd left holding a bag of confusion, relentless, proactive preparation. The potential for a life-altering event is undeniably present, rooted in the trillions of dollars of oil beneath the Iraqi desert. But potential is a future promise, and the market trades in present reality. Your mission is to bridge that gap with knowledge, discipline, and a plan so robust that no matter which way the winds of geopolitics and finance finally blow, you are not just ready, you are poised to act with decisive, unshakable confidence. If this deep dive into the heart of the most critical investment of our time has opened your eyes, if it has replaced confusion with clarity and hope with a hardened strategy, then you understand the value of being truly informed. Do not leave your financial future to chance or the whispers of strangers. Take control right now. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell because we are your frontline intelligence, breaking down the complex world of high finance into an actionable battle plan you will not find anywhere else. I want to hear your strategy in the comments below. What is the one key signal you are watching for that tells you the moment has arrived? Let's build a community of the most informed and prepared investors on the planet. Share this video with every single person you know who holds the dinar. They deserve to see past the hype and understand the real game being played. The information is the power. Now, go and use it.